Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I am glad that you're here. I'm glad to be here, so I hope you are too. I had a wonderful weekend with my sister. We went to a great place called the King Spa. It's a Korean spa that's around Chicago. It's in Niles, and it's filled with like 9 or 10 different kinds of saunas, and the locker rooms are, of course, single sex, but they're all nude. Hey, Val. And so you get this wonderful, beautiful, feminine energy around it. Hey, Lynn, nice to see you. And it's just so restorative and so wonderful. Now, when I go to things like this, when I spend time, relaxing and doing self-care, a lot of people are surprised. Hey, Bernice, a lot of people are surprised that sometimes I can spend the whole amount of time being angry inside. And I'm okay with that. Hey, Kellyanne and Kathy, nice to see you. I'm okay with, spending 6 or 7 hours like I did at this wonderful, awesome place with fabulous food, with somebody that I love, and we enjoy each other's company, letting myself feeling things like anger and depression. But here's why. We have so much going on in our lives, hey Dina, that causes us to feel really anxious or conflicted inside. In fact, a lot of women, we've got a lot of anger and we've got a lot of depression. And because we've been on the other side of being victimized, of being the one that other people have taken their anger and depression out on, we tend to not allow it in ourselves, not be okay with it in ourselves. But in reality, we are the same as everybody else. We're human beings, which means that we have the same anger and the same depression and the same anxiety that everybody else does. But here's the problem. We're not okay with it. Maybe because of the past we've had or the history we've lived in. We're not okay with feeling angry or with feeling depressed because we're pretty judgmental about it. I know I can't tell you how many decades I spent being judgmental about the feeling of anger and afraid of it, not understanding how it worked, or the feelings of depression. And so instead, when I would start to feel down or I'd start to feel angry or anxious, I'd go find something else to do. I'd find something to distract myself with. But here's the deal. Now, let's say 40 or 50 years in, you have all of this anger built up. Because remember, anger is actually a chemical and it's a felt sense. So when we allow it to build up like we have over the decades, it does start to cause all sorts of health problems and relationship problems and problems with work because we don't know how to deal with this anger or this depression or this anxiety that we are so judgmental about for ourselves. So here's how you be kinder to it. You give yourself time and space, even when it's time when you're supposed to be relaxing, hey Brenda, or when you're supposed to be dialing down. That's actually, have you ever heard, and it's true, that a lot of people when they go on vacation, that's when they get sick? That's when, finally when their body stops. That's when it's allowed to feel and experience and express all the things that it's been ignoring or denying because it hasn't been the right time. You've had too many things to do. It's the same thing with your feelings. When you don't give them space and when you don't give them permission to exist, to be felt, to go through, and it takes a lot longer than you think. A lot of people think, well, I should just be angry and release it. You know what? That's actually probably true for people who get angry and release it all the time, but it's not true for people who are so used to distracting themselves or dialing it down or feeling better or ignoring it. That's how we've ended up in these addictive behaviors because we're trying to ignore how uncomfortable we are. So I've got a tool. One of the tools that I use is every morning I give myself time and space to feel whatever it is that I'm feeling. Or when I go on these relaxation days or I take a bath, I give myself lots of time to feel this stuff. Lots of time to let myself be angry the entire time and to process through it. Because it's only when you relax to those feelings, it's only when you're okay with them that they're able to move out of you. Now, other people, when they're okay with them, they express them quite loudly or in passive-aggressive, awful ways at you. which is why you've probably ended up kind of judgmental about it, because you're like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to do that to somebody else. The way to avoid doing that to somebody else is really to give yourself that space, to be your own sacred space. Now, when you were a kid, somebody else was supposed to hold that space for you. Somebody else was supposed to say, you know what? It's okay that you're angry and depressed. Why don't you sit with it and be with it so that it can clear, so that it doesn't hold on and build up. But we're not taught those things. We're taught to keep it under wraps, and then when it's over, we're kind of left uneducated and a child, not knowing how to deal with all of these uncomfortable emotions. What you do is now you're the one who's kind to yourself. You allow those emotions to come up, and even if they last longer than you want them to, like really 5 years later, 10 years later, I'm still dealing with this anger, just remember, one, you've hardly given yourself any time to be with it, to be okay with it, and two, you were taught that they were bad. And so you've got all of this anger and all of this anxiety that's lodged. It's lodged in your body. It's lodged in your cells. Hey, Kelly, it's these chemicals which are making your liver inflamed and your heart inflamed and your digestive system all off. That's that anger. That's that anxiety. And until we give ourselves permission and love and kindness and be okay with the fact that we have these feelings, that's the only way that they're finally able to process through. So why does it take so long? Why does it seem like I'm still angry? I gave myself 15 minutes. I should be better. Think about it this way. It's not just angry for this moment. You've got angry from your whole lifetime. And then even when you were in your womb, when you were being formed, as an infant, you felt all the things that your mother felt. So if she dealt with suppressing insecurity and anger, can you imagine the wallop you got? Can you imagine how that shaped you, how that formed you? You've got a lot to work through. And so you need to be kind and accepting for how you feel. And if you do that regularly, then it doesn't squeak out in all of these other opposite ways, in yelling at your dog or feeling controlled or hijacked when you least expect it. Because this stuff builds up and it's inflammation in your body. These emotions are causing that low level of inflammation that make you feel crazy. When your gut's all messed up, then your brain ends up all messed up, and then your mood ends up all messed up. So you have to be okay with how you feel so that some of this inflammation can come out. Now, the first year that I opened my practice, which it was the first time I ever really gave myself space to feel. And the whole year I really struggled, but I gave myself that time. And I was exhausted because I went through it. But on the other side, and then every year after that, your body gets healthier, your mind gets healthier, you get happier. You're not on a downward spiral like everybody tells you, well, you're getting older, so you just need to deal with it. Instead, you can be on an upward spiral where you keep flushing out these feelings. And I'll tell you, you eventually get to the point where you're like, you know what? I have run out of things I'm angry at. I've run out of all of this past. Of course, there's lots of stuff out there, lots of injustices and pain and current things which are going on. But triggering is when something opens a door to past emotions and feelings which you haven't dealt with. So guess what? When you sit there and you give yourself time to feel it and be present with it, then you don't get triggered. And when you don't get triggered, your life doesn't go on some, complete crazy train where you end up overreacting in a situation when you really need to be balanced and rational, when it's in your best interests to be in a balanced, rational place. So if you want to stop feeling so angry, if you want to stop feeling so depressed, it's not that you have to judge it and try to get rid of it. Instead, you need to love it and be present with it. You need to sit with it. You need to let yourself say all of those things that you always wanted to say in your head and be okay with it. Don't act on it, but give yourself space to be and to be okay with everything that you feel. Hey, Jody. So here's your homework assignment for today. I want you to spend 10 minutes doing something that's relaxing and enjoyable. And that whole time, if you have any negative emotions come up, any negative thoughts, even if it's the entire time, even if it's a half hour or an hour and a half, or for me it was 7 hours, let yourself be present with it. Because that's the only way you're going to get through the decades and generations sometimes of all of the pain and anger that's been stuffed down, that we've been taught to stuff down. So it's time to start opening up the door and process through this stuff if you want to get healthier, and if you want to get happier, and if you want to start making better choices which are in your best interest, okay? So remember, at least give yourself 10 minutes where it would be something that's relaxing, watching the squirrels, or taking a bath, or even a nice long shower, or resting, closing your eyes. Don't judge the fact that you're feeling frustrated and anxious or depressed or angry. Be with it and be okay with it. And that is how you be kinder to your emotions. And on the other side, you end up feeling better. When you keep chipping away at it, life keeps getting better, and physically you end up feeling better too, okay? So if you don't know who I am, I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a Shiatsu massage therapist, and my specialty is coaching women so that they feel good enough so that they can stand up or walk out or change any narcissistic relationship or situation that they have. Because a lot of women don't have the luxury to just leave something or stop something. We're kind of stuck in it, which means we have to learn how to live with it and how to heal ourselves and how to be happy until the situation changes, until we're able to make those changes that really make our lives better. Okay? So cool. If you feel stuck, let me know. Now, tonight, we have got the first of our series of narcissism experts coming on. I have a wonderful psychic who's a friend of mine from Facebook. She lives in Australia. Her name is Tara. Maybe you've seen her on interviews before. So 7:30 p.m. tonight on this channel, on this live stream, we're going to be talking about how to spot a narcissist so that you can avoid them. Okay? And she's going to come from her psychic, energetic realm. Lovely, lovely woman. I'll come from the body-mind piece and intuition and how to feel what's going on around you so you can make better choices and avoid a problem in the first place. So that's what we're going to be talking about. 7:30 to 9, this channel. And if you feel stuck with any of this stuff, private message me, email me, text me. This is what I do. I do coaching for women who are ready to make a big change in their life. And that you have to get that scaffolding in first. You have to feel healthy. Hey, Lisa. You have to feel happy. You have to be in a good place. You have to have those tools. And it's only when you've kind of dug yourself out of the hole a little bit with some help that you're able to make those big changes in your life. Okay? And that's what I help you do. Get that scaffolding in place so that you feel amazing and you're like, oh no, this is what I want my life to look like. Okay? So cool. Have a great rest of your day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight at 7:30. It's the first one, Central Standard Time. Just show up right here, and you'll get a delightful conversation. And then we'll do the next one on Wednesday, and we'll be doing this for 3 weeks on Mondays and Wednesdays with different experts, different specialties, different healers who've dealt with this topic and how they've made it through. So it'll be a lot of fun. I hope to see you there. Okay? Bye!